Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Now, Terrell, run the road again!
Hey guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay?
Their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear.
It's Division I football! Here, murals!
That is right. It's Division I football, and we are back with the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake. That's Ed. And we put a little bit into research to the topics we're going to talk about today. And I'm excited. Got as usual in the offseason, we get a whole lot of yapping going on and very little substance, and that's why we've come up with some things to talk about for next season.
Yeah, we're kind of on our slow schedule. It's been 3 weeks since we last did it. We'll have a little bit more downtime before we start ramping things up here after July 4th. We'll start to get into the conference previews. Once we get past July 4th, man, we're in a downhill stretch. We're getting into conference previews. We're going to start talking about the season a ton. And then by the time we start doing that, games will start happening. So we'll be in the fall camp. We'll be ready to go, man. It's happening. We just only have
it is happening.
The month of June's a little slow. Not much going on off the field. I think really the only thing we really been going on the last couple of weeks, which I know we got to talk about, has been this playoff stuff. And I'm in a different place today, so if I look a little different, I don't have bad lighting, whatever. But where do we want to talk about the playoffs? Well, we got to talk about the spring meetings, I guess, the SEC had and all the reaction to that.
Yeah, it's kind of in a state of flux right now. Different conferences are backing different proposals. Obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten want automatic bids, or the coaches in the SEC don't want automatic bids, but Sankey. It's like the coaches want different things than the administrators. And I know Big Ten administrators came out and said they wanted 4 automatic bids for the Big Ten, but it's kind of up in the air at the moment exactly. We don't know really what's going to be settled. What is settled is we are expanding. That is very clear. There's no going back. 16 seems to be the number that everybody's settled on, regardless of the problems that many people have with it. I think 16 is where we're going. What's really the debate here is kind of the automatic bids for specific conferences versus 5 for the top 5 conference champs and the group of 5 conference champ, and then a selection committee. And then Sankey specifically is wanting to change some of the criteria that's used for the decision-making for the selection committee, which I think is really funny because the criteria was always just whatever. They made up the criteria after the fact to do whatever, justify whatever rankings they really wanted to do. So I think changing the criteria is hilarious because, dude, what was the criteria to begin with, really? So it's interesting. It's a lot of talking back and forth, and we really don't have anything settled as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, and first of all, I think, if I never hear from Greg Sankey again, I'll be happy. I think he is the epitome of the worst person to ever happen to college football.
He's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I know everybody goes, well, and and Josh Pate said this on his show, it's not really his fault. He's just doing what, he's just representing the administrators. Well, okay, whatever. So it's all the administrators are terrible, but somebody ought to have the guts to stand up and say something. But you ever seen been on the streets of New York or Las Vegas where they've got that little card show? You haven't. They got the little card show, and you got the 3 cards, and they're moving the cards around. You're supposed to find the card, and you think it's that one card, and you say, oh, it's that
it's
one.
Not. Yeah.
And then they flip it over to the other one. Well, that's what the SEC is doing, I think. They want you to think that gets you all riled up about you. First of all, let's talk about the model. The Big Ten model. This is the one Tony Petitti and the Big Ten threw out. Was this 4-4-2-2-1-1-1, whatever. The
nonsense, bro.
No. I actually think that's the best model and I'll tell you why. Because that actually brings Josh Pate's dead on. Joel Klatt's dead on this, because that actually brings some meaning back to the regular season. So Greg Sankey and them talk about that model. This is the one card over here. Well, this, and it gets everybody riled up. On the other hand, they really pull out the card. well, okay, you guys don't like this. We'll give you the 5-11 model. That's the one that takes all the meaning away from the regular season, because that just basically says, hey, and Josh Pate, I mean, I'm going to give Josh Pate all the credit. He talked about this in one of his last couple of podcasts. Hey, I'm Tennessee. I'm 9-1 mid-November. I've got 2 games left. And the 5-11 model, I don't care what happens the last couple of games. I don't care if I'm the third in the SEC, because I've already locked up, because I can drop all the way down and still get that number 16 seed. In the Tony Petitti model, if you're the third seed in the SEC, you're fighting for your life for that playoff spot. Those last games in the SEC, or if you're a Big Ten, if you're Indiana, or, I was going to say Purdue. I mean, that was a slip of the tongue. Indiana, or, your whoever, Penn State or whoever, you've got to play those games out, because the only thing that's guaranteed is if you're the top 2 seeds. If you're the 3rd or 4th seed and you're maybe ranked 9th or 10th in the country, you're not guaranteed anything until the last possible weekend. So all those automatic qualifiers are actually good, because it forces the meeting back in the regular season. But the SEC is playing this card trick where they're saying, well, we don't really not sure about this one. Oh, we'll slide this one in at the end. And I think it's terrible what they're doing, the SEC.
Well, okay. I think I can get along with that last statement. I think it's terrible what they're doing, the SEC. I think we're cooked at this point. Like, there's no insert meaning back into the regular season. Like, yeah. I get, like, what we already had regular. That's done. What I think about is it's completely ridiculous that the SEC and the Big Ten could just lock themselves into 4 automatic bids. They don't always have 4 of those teams. Like, last year, the SEC had the 3, 4, and 5 teams were not very good.
Yeah, but what was your alternative last year? You go back and
look. But there could have been an alternative, like if other teams had stepped up, basically. Okay, so I hate entrenching the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten just have to not try as hard to get into the playoff as the Big 12 and the ACC. I think it's ridiculous to just assign it based on conference. It's never been like that. It's completely outside the bounds of like what the game's mattering. Like, would it make sense if one year, like in the NFL, if like the NFC North was just like better for like 4 or 5 years, right? And then we're just like, oh, we'll give the NFC North 2 automatic bids instead of just the champion. Like, and all the other divisions would be like, hey, what? Wait a minute, what the heck? Like, no, it doesn't make sense. Like, right? Yeah, the SEC and the Big Ten have the majority of the money, like currently, but like, you can't entrench that in. It's completely unfair and it defeats the point of like playing the sports, playing the games. Because what if like the 3rd best SEC team has a loss? They played an ACC team. Let's say the 3rd best SEC team, South Carolina. They lose to Clemson on that last week. Should they just still get an automatic bid in? And that drops them down to 4 losses, right? No, those games should matter. So the games
never
matter.
Going to give the benefit of the doubt to in that situation, the Tennessee team just kind of mailing it in the last couple of weeks. They're still going to get the benefit of the doubt over the ACC Big 12 team. You know it.
Not if they lose 2 games.
I don't know. Well, the only way you're going to do it then is you're going to have all 16, and I just don't know if anybody's going to sign off on that. The Big Ten's not going to sign off on it.
They're not going to sign off on all 16. But I think the 5 plus 11 is the closest you can get to that.
And I tell you what, we're going to get some teams that are basically just mailing it in November.
We already have that.
We don't. If you have
teams already rest against worse opponents. What are you talking about? This already happens. If it's against a good opponent, then they're going to be fighting for seeding. And if it's against a bad opponent, they're going to rest players like they always do.
I think the Big Ten model brings it back in where the regular season matters a whole lot more. But
I disagree. I think it's ridiculous to just entrench things like that. It's so dumb. It's
Jake, the Big 12 is not going to, and under the current structure anyway, they're not going to be competitive. It's getting worse and worse every single year.
Look, the Big 12 commissioner, Brett Yormark, is in favor of the 5 plus 11 model. And he came out and said that. And yes, I think it's extremely unlikely that the Big 12 will ever get 3 teams in on a given year, barring some craziness happening, right? So, like, what does that really help anyone, right? Maybe some years we only get 1, right? So you're like, why are you risking that? Well, you risk it for the competitive balance. You risk it for playing the games. You risk it for having an actual sport versus just like predetermining this stuff all based on like power rankings and preseason polls. And it's like, it's completely ridiculous. That's the other thing. The SEC trying to like change it so that the forward predicting metrics are part of it. That's completely
that's
ridiculous.
just garbage.
That's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah, that's a whole
but
nother.
I don't think they're actually going to get away with that because the power ratings routinely favor the more talented teams, and what often happens is bad coaches get on those teams and then they suck. So like, I don't think I think that was just to like piss people off and take away attention from all the other debates, because they're never going to get away with
I just want to see. I just want to see if we're gonna whatever we go to that that the Big 12 and the ACC don't get screwed. I mean, that's my concern. And
I agree. That's my concern also. But I just think they're getting screwed with the 4+2+2+4 whatever.
I think it creates incentive in those conferences that you have something to fight for. I'm worried that the way the committee sets up now, that they're always going to give the benefit out of the SEC because the SEC is going to be the loudest in the room, along with the Big Ten, and they're going to lose out every time for those 14, 15, 16 seeds. I just worry about that. But
I'm less concerned about 14, 15, 16 because I really don't think the playoffs should be that big.
But it is. It's going to be.
Okay. Let me finish. And so 14, 15, 16, like we're going to debate about them because they're the last ones in. Nobody ranked 14, 15, and 16 is really contending for the national championship. And that's what this whole playoff is for.
How about this year?
Nobody ranked if you have 14, 15, 16, you have 3 losses, probably, right?
Maybe, yeah.
If you have 3 losses, you're not winning the national title. No, it's just, it doesn't happen. There's no way. It's never happened in the history of the sport.
Where that Ole Miss team last year, if they weren't in the tournament,
that Ole Miss team would have gotten stomped by Notre Dame and Ohio State.
They got stomped by Ohio State, but not Notre Dame.
They would have gotten suffocated by Notre Dame.
I don't know. That's
I think so.
I would disagree.
But okay, Ohio State would have beat them. But like
Ohio State was yes.
Yeah. And I think Oregon probably would have beat them too. But that's not the point. Nobody who has those 14, 15, 16 teams is gonna win the title. It's not gonna happen. And so I don't really care about. I'm not gonna get into the big uproar debates as much with the 14, 15, 16 as I would with like the 4 versus 5 or the 12 versus 13. 12 versus 13 is already pushing it, but that's because there were auto bids. It was weird.
Then they're going to go to these double bye formats. I'm talking about double bye.
Oh, the double bye is stupid. Just straight seed them.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing they're arguing for is that the SEC champion of the Big Ten may get like a double bye, and you're basically baking in that the Big 12 and the ACC are never going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's incredibly stupid. The double bye is incredibly stupid. We should just go straight seeding, and be done with it. There's no 5+11 straight seeding is I think the best achievable possible model that's out there.
Yeah,
that they might actually like I think they could have actually agree on it if that's something that like came together.
Well,
like
they're going to have to make
in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, they're going to have to make a decision soon, and we'll see what will happen. And we're going to get something. So
yeah,
football,
something for sure, sure.
Right. Not much else on the coaching front. I mean, the team's front. There hadn't been really a lot of other big news in the last couple of weeks. It's kind of the quiet time. I think they had a lot of coaches meetings. Players are all gone. I think you'll start to see things ramp up here. I don't really know. There's been a whole lot of news. Have you anything important? I mean, there's a lot of right now is a recruiting season. Really, that's where the biggest news is.
Yeah,
you got
lots of visits happening.
A lot of 26 recruits are attending camps, summer camps, and signing. Other than that, I don't think we got a whole lot else going on. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time to get into. We've done a little bit of research. We put in the hours, put in the work, and me and Dad have come up with our top 10 non-QB players for 2025. And I think this is going to be really interesting. I think we'll have probably some of the same players, but I bet we have a lot of different players as well. And I'm interested to see what you put on there, and I think it'll be good to talk about.
Are we going from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
Let's go 10 to 1. Let's go 10 to 1.
Okay.
You have a number 10.
And by the way, our number 1 is going to be the same. So we don't even really.
Oh, yeah. The number 1 player is going to be the same. Maybe the number 2 also.
I don't know. We'll get to number 1 later. But number 10, my number 10 is Jeremiah. Let me go to my notes here. Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame, running back.
Okay. Yeah.
He's physical. He's fast. He's explosive. And I like when he hurdles people. I do like that. That's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't
he's
like
awesome. He was
15 touchdowns last year. He can catch the ball. He's actually going to be one of those backs, I think. Notre Dame's going to have a good offensive line. They're going to depend on him a lot. I think he'll be a back next year that'll probably get taken pretty highly in the NFL draft because he's, I think, a guy that NFL teams will build around. I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to have a great season for Notre Dame.
I absolutely agree. Emphasis on absolutely. I have him a lot higher, actually. I have him at number 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I am super high on Jeremiah Love. Their offensive line looks insane going into this year. I think he's going to have a huge year. He had 1,125 rushing yards last year, 163 carries, 17 total touchdowns. He's a beast. He's fast. He's got power. He's got incredible change of direction and ball control. I think he's going to be the favorite to be first team All-American at the running back position. I think he's the best running back in the country. I expect a huge year from him, and I think he'll carry Notre Dame very far. Notre Dame will get as far as Jeremiah Love gets them, and that's not a knock on Notre Dame. That's just a credit to how good Jeremiah Love is.
Yeah.
So I'm hugely high on him. I think he will be incredible this coming year.
Okay. Who do you got at number 9?
I got it for number 10 though.
Oh, who's your number 10?
Yeah. My number 10 is Peter Woods, defensive lineman for Clemson. He doesn't show up as much. I mean, he has good stats, incredibly, but he's kind of an interior defensive lineman, but he can line up outside sometimes. At 32 tackles last year, 8.5 tackles for loss. He can line up anywhere. He's a big dude. He has huge power, and he's got actually pretty good speed for how big he is. There are several occasions last year watching Clemson where he just stops offensive drives in his tracks. He just kind of like he'll swallow like 2 whole plays, running play, and then running play and a sack, and then the drive's just dead. He's part of that Clemson defensive line. It's going to be really good this year, arguably one of the best in the country. And he's a senior. He's kind of the rock on defense for Clemson, and huge impact player.
Yeah, I actually had him at number 7 on my list. So
yeah,
a little bit higher. He had 3 sacks last year, 14 hurries. He actually played out. I don't think he was in his normal position. I think they're going to move him back inside full-time this year. So I think he's even going to be more dangerous. So and he's going to be top of a lot of NFL draft boards next year. He's going to, like you said, I think he's going to make between him and another guy, which we may get to here a little.
Both will have on.
He's going to make Clemson look really good this year. So Peter Woods. Yeah. Peter Woods he was 7 on my list. All right, what do you have next?
Number 9, I have got Dylan Stewart, edge rusher for South Carolina.
Okay.
Freshman last year. He is maybe one of the most athletic players, like pure athleticism, in all of college football this coming year. An absolute freak. He's basically unstoppable off the edge. Like, you basically have to double him, and not like a half double with like one guy coming in, like a true double every play. He swallows QB's whole. 23 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss last year, 6.5 sacks as a true freshman. South Carolina gave him a huge bag to come back, and it will be worth it. He's basically their X factor on defense. He's one of those players that would start for any team in the country at edge rusher. Literally put him on any team and he starts. I think he's elite, and I think if South Carolina can have continued success this coming year, he's going to be a big reason for it.
Yeah, he was actually number 4 on my list. I mean, he is
incredible.
Typical NFL kind of edge rusher. He's 6'6". I don't know about the 2026 NFL draft, but that 2027 NFL draft is going to be outstanding. I think every team in the world.
There's so many freshmen last year that are going to be coming back this year. Amazing.
He got 34 hurries last year. Stewart assuming this guy stays healthy, he's the real deal. Now, is there enough around him on that defense, or is he just going to be double, triple teamed all the time? And
that's kind of the question.
I don't know what's going to happen there, but Dylan Stewart certainly is capable of being a big time player. It reminds me of Jadeveon Clowney, another all time.
He does in that Crimson, doesn't he?
Okay. So my number 9, I'm going to go a little back to my list here. I think probably my only offensive lineman in my list. Spencer Fanow.
Hey, I got him on my list too.
Yeah, I think he's the best run blocker in the country. He's a Utah.
Yeah,
for those you don't know.
Offensive tackle for Utah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got good feet. I think he is part of a good Utah line. He will be he will be a big pick next year in the 26th draft for NFL teams. I think, again, run blocking, I think, is his specialty, really. Yeah, but I felt like as I was kind of doing my list, I had a lot of positions representative, and I was like, well, wait a second. I need to put some offensive tackle in my top 10 because the big guys down in the trenches need love on both sides of the ball. And he kind of came in number 9 as my best tackle.
Yeah, I have Spencer Fanow at number 7.
Okay.
I think he's incredible. Basically, for a little context, he had a 92 overall PFF grade for overall offensive tackle grade last year and 93.6 run blocking grade. Both of those were number 1 in the country last year as a sophomore, and he's coming back. He's one of those players that's better than everybody that's older than him as well. Another reason I thought he is going to have a big year is if QB is still a question. I know they got a new guy coming in at Utah, but you know we haven't seen him play. We don't know. The offense will go through him on the offensive line, running the ball. His run blocking will basically carry that team. We know Kyle Whittingham likes to run the ball, and he's going to be the face of that force, the face and the force of that team for sure.
Yep. All right, number 8 on my list is Keldrick Falk, another edge rusher from Auburn.
Oh, interesting.
So
I didn't have him on my list.
I think he is he had 7 sacks, 35 hurries last year. I think he could play pretty much anywhere along the front of that line. I think he's going to be someone who's going to be a big-time disruptor on the defensive line for Auburn this year. If Auburn's going to have a good year, Falk has got to come up big, and I think he's got a lot of potential. He will be a likely NFL day 1 kind of NFL draft pick next year. Falk is number 8 on my list.
Yeah, I do remember he made a couple of really impactful plays last year for Auburn, but I mean, good player. I don't have him on my list, but it'll be interesting for sure.
Who's number 8 on your list?
Number 8 on my list is Dennis Sutton, the edge rusher / outside linebacker / whatever for Penn State. Athletic freak, unstoppable off the edge. I think he's going to be fantastic. Penn State's getting a lot of preseason hype, especially with the amount of players. Aller coming back, and Dennis Sutton, fantastic last year. He had 42 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, 9 QB hurries. He's extremely disruptive. He gets pass pressure and run tackling. I think he's just going to be like the linchpin of Penn State's defense, and they're going to need that pressure against some of the offenses they're going to be going up against.
Okay. All right, my number 7 we already talked about Peter Woods. Who was your number 7?
Spencer Fanow.
Okay. All right.
That's my number 7.
So who's your number 6 then?
My number 6 is TJ Parker for Clemson. TJ Parker, Clemson edge rusher, defensive end. At 64 tackles last year, 19.5 tackles for loss, leads the country in returning tackles for loss, 8 sacks. He's the other head of that two-headed, the monster of the Clemson defensive line. I think he's going to have a huge impact this year. I don't know how many ACC offensive lines can really stop Clemson, and especially if they move Peter Woods back towards the inside, he's going to suck attention, and that's going to open up things for TJ Parker on the outside as well. And so, man, look out for that Clemson defensive line because I'm really high on them.
Yeah, I actually had Parker at number 3. So,
really?
Yeah. So I had Parker at 3, and he had 30 hurries last year, 11 sacks. I think he will be big time motor with that guy. I think that, I'm not sure how well he's going to meet NFL kind of. I think he may be a little undersized for NFL, but from a college game, he's outstanding. And I think between him and Woods, that is a 1-2 combo. So my number 7, and I think it's my only linebacker on the board, it's the man down in Texas, Anthony Hill Jr.
I got him at number 5.
Okay, all right. So we're pretty close there. He's the guy that's going to make that Texas defense go. 113 tackles. 16.5 tackles for loss. He can do everything. He can run. He can cover. Rush. He can cover. He had 8 sacks. he is the guy that Texas defense is going to go as well as he goes. And if I'm Steve Sarkisian, I'm certainly happy that I got him on the other side of that ball.
Yeah, he's incredible. He sort of like just always finds the ball. He's like very versatile. He's not like one of these linebackers that's super good at only one thing. He's super good at everything.
Yeah.
Favorite to be All-American, pass and run defense exceptional. Great off the blitz, great in coverage. Like he can do basically everything. He's the all-purpose All-American linebacker, and he is a beast to mess with.
Yeah, and I don't even really think there's another linebacker that's even close to him in the country. Maybe what's the guy's name in Illinois?
You could maybe make the Illinois guy or
Jacobs
or Mateo Uiagalelei if he lives up to the talent.
Well, and Pitt, Lewis at Pitt.
Pitt, yeah. But none of them really can hold a candle to Anthony Hill Jr.
No, that's it. So, all right. So who do you have at 5?
I have Anthony Hill Jr. at 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my number 5, and my number 5 is a wide receiver. And did you know he was 17 last year?
Yeah, I did know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I have Ryan Williams.
Ryan Williams is number 5 for me. 48 catches, 865 yards, 8 touchdowns, and that's with just kind of mediocre, I think, quarterback play. I think the offense is going to change this year with Grubb coming back to reunite with Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
I think you'll find more. Ryan will feel better in the offense in year 2. I think with Ty Simpson's probably a more traditional kind of back. We're assuming it's going to be Ty Simpson at quarterback.
We think
start at least. And I think that's going to be beneficial for Ryan Williams, an outstanding talent. Again, a guy who's going to be in the 27 NFL draft. He would, if it weren't for a certain young guy over at Ohio State, we'd be talking about Ryan Williams in certain unbelievable terms. Ryan's a great wide receiver, absolutely phenomenal wide receiver.
Yeah.
So he's my number 5.
Incredible. Yeah, I have Ryan Williams at number 2. I think he's just that good. And regardless, if the number 1 guy wasn't there, we'd be talking about Ryan Williams as an absolute like generational, not saying using that word lightly, wide receiver.
There's been a lot of good ones at Alabama too, and he's
a lot of good ones at Alabama, and he might be the best one yet. Like his possibility for that ceiling is there, and I think he's going to have a huge year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Who's your 4 then?
My 4 is a guy at Ohio State named Caleb Downs, safety for Ohio State. Not really rare that you find safeties up on these lists, but let me tell you about Caleb Downs. That dude might as well be a mind reader, because if you've ever watched him play, it's like he reminds me a little of how Luke Kuechly used to play, where he's just so incredibly with it upstairs that it feels like he knows what the play is before it happens. It feels like when you run the play over and over again on NCAA or Madden, and someone's just using the safety or the linebacker over to the player that the offense is always throwing it to. But it's like him, and he's not in Madden, and it's every play. Like, he always knows where the ball's going. He's fast. He's incredibly athletic. He had 81 tackles as a safety, 2 interceptions. He's just all over the board. He feels like he's got three copies of himself to put all over the field. He's that guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. He is clearly. I mean, you're right. Safety. It's not often you put a safety out there, but he has just got elite kind of like instincts, and he's all over.
Oh yeah.
He is. I don't know how you. I guess the best comparison I would think of is Ed Reed. I mean, he's just going to be. He's going to go and he's going to play for someone, and he's going to be all over the place. He's going to find the ball. He's going to make the right play. Caleb Downs is just special. He's actually my number 2. Okay, and I think that's even rare when you think about it. Put a safety number 2, you're like, why would you do that? Because I think he makes such a difference on that defense. You saw it in, what was it, the semifinal game and the play he made against Texas. He just read that. He made the read and disrupted that play. It's rare you find players that can do that. And a safety position is perfect because he can go everywhere. He's just a rare talent. And people were talking about him out of high school like he was at, and he's lived up to that since day one, both at Alabama and at Ohio State.
Yep. And I think it's telling that our 2 best comparisons to him are 2 Hall of Fame linebackers, and he plays safety.
Yeah,
I don't even know what to say. Like that one play you were talking about against Texas, that wasn't a unique circumstance. He did that 3 or 4 other times earlier in the game. It's just he does it all the time, and then it does it when it counts. So
yeah, if anybody wants to know why Ohio State is a potential, even though they've lost a lot of people, why they could potentially repeat as national championships, Caleb Downs is one of them. He's just that special. So, all right. So he's my number 2. He's number 4. Okay, who's your number 3?
My number 3, we did Jeremiah Love. We touched
Did
on
you
him.
do your number 2? I can't remember.
Our number 2 is Ryan Williams.
Okay, so then we're back to our number 1.
Number 1.
Who is that?
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you Jeremiah Smith. I remember hearing about this kid when he was like a junior in high school, and they were already saying this kid was going to be the number 1 pick in the 2027 NFL draft. I mean, and he did absolutely nothing his freshman year to dissuade anybody from that. 57 catches, 934 yards, 10 touchdowns. Oh, and by the way, NFL Mecca Ibuka was on the roster with him. I mean, an NFL talent receiver. This guy is unreal. Catches everything. He can catch it with one hand. He's bigger, faster than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, I feel like he's a Randy Moss-esque player.
Yeah, he's Randy Moss, but give him like 30 more pounds of muscle and fast.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know I don't know. I mean, now, again, they're going to have a new quarterback this year, but my goodness, if you're
it doesn't matter. I could be throwing to him.
Unbelievable talent. I mean, you hope that nothing goes wrong with this guy. You hope that he never has any injuries. Yeah. You hope there's no offensive off-field issues because he is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of talent. Unbelievable. And if I'm NFL teams, I'm already figuring out how to tank the 26th season so I can get the number 1 pick.
Yeah. It's not and by the way, number 1 pick going to wide receiver is super rare. It's only happened like twice ever. Yeah. And it's going to happen again with him because
DJ Lagway may have something to say about that.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
But
like I genuinely Jeremiah Smith
could make a case for it.
In my opinion, the most talented wide receiver I've ever seen in my lifetime, including NFL. Yeah. Like his raw talent is unbelievable. It's like if you put DK Metcalf and like Tyreek Hill together. Like he's so fast, and he's so tall, and he's so strong, and he can jump incredibly high. Like it's like they cooked him up in a lab and just put all the sliders to 99. Like there's no weaknesses. He has no weakness. His only weakness is he's too strong and too big to be like, but you can put him anywhere. Like
and the problem is if you're at Ohio State, you can't double team him and put him in triple coverage because then they've got other NFL quality wide receivers running free. So
and it also almost doesn't matter because he'll just jump over the double coverage. Like the double coverage doesn't really work.
Yeah. He's an amazing player, and that's why it was easy. Number 1 was
easy. Number 1, no question.
So,
no question.
And see, we don't just talk about quarterbacks all the time. We do talk about other players. So
this is us talking about the other players in the sport. I had a couple honorable mentions that I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on, and it's just like instant react, nothing like super deep, but some other players that I kind of thought about putting on this list, but didn't quite make it. Colin Simmons from Texas, edge rusher. He was freshman last year, 5-star player. He was really good. I think he could have a big year, but he didn't quite have a big enough track record for me to put him on the list. Caleb Banks from Florida.
Yeah.
The Florida.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. He's fantastic. And both the Penn State running backs, Nicholas Singleton and Allen. What's the other guy?
Yeah.
Katron Allen. They're going to be huge this year. Very good. I think they both had 1,000 yards last year. They'll be fantastic. Cam Coleman for Auburn is somebody to watch. He's definitely got the talent at receiver, and he's an exceptionally good receiver, but not quite to the level that Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams are. Although with a better quarterback, you could see rapidly increased production from him for sure. And something that I picked up and a guy I heard about more by listening to an Oregon podcast is Isaiah World, the Nevada transfer. He's offensive tackle to Oregon. He's going to have a huge impact on Oregon this year. He's good enough where I think the jump up in competition isn't going to phase him. And Oregon season is really going to hinge on how well Isaiah World does.
Yeah, it's also going to hinge on how well Dante Moore plays. But
that's true. That's true. But those two things might go together.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, no, we're I'm kind of ready. I'm done talking about playoffs. I'm done talking about what people
Some
can do.
games. Let's
Yeah.
get some games.
So we got to start getting ready for some conference preview season. And it's here before you know it. I mean, we've gotten a lot of TV schedules that have come out in the last few weeks.
Oh
We're
yeah.
starting to see that. We're at the point we're almost there. So we just got to hang on, everybody get their summer vacations in, and then you can lock down and focus on football. So,
and we will start going over win totals and conference previews. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna work out a schedule and get through. And it'll be interesting this year with some of the flipped schedules. And man, we got so many like high profile games starting the season. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna start a little bit earlier this year. Maybe we got some scheduling things, but these conferences are too big for us to do one pod on each conference. We're probably have to break these conferences down to 2 pods.
I think so.
Shorter. So, and just break it down, and then we'll kind of do a summary pod right before the season, and then a week 1 pod. So we'll have it all together. We'll be back in our normal rotation, a reaction pod, usually on whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, probably Sunday, Monday nights kind of thing.
Probably Sunday or Monday would be my guess, and then a preview pod,
and then a preview pod either Wednesday, Thursday nights. Kind of our normal weekly schedule. But right now we're kind of on an irregular schedule based on just travel and life and the
off season.
It's off season. So, but we'll be back on a normal thing and taking our normal callers and viewers and everybody else. So,
yes. And if you want to ask a question, send me a DM on Twitter. We'll answer it for sure.
But, I don't know. I guess we may do another one right before the 4th of July, and then we may have a little break. I don't know. We'll see. We'll probably do one more and then take a few weeks break before we get into the previews.
Yeah, we'll see. I do have a new intro coming, an improved intro.
All right.
It's in the works. It's cooking. It's marinating. So be prepared for that when we sort of relaunch for the next season, as well as you may have noticed I've got some improved graphics right down here, aka just some text on the screen and some fancy colors, or the YouTube stream is back up and running. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much.
I threatened to hire an intern, and he's finally picked
up. I've been getting it together. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching.
All right.
Make sure to like and subscribe and follow on Twitter or X and YouTube. Leave a comment down below if you want me to, or Dad or Ed, to answer a question. Then we'll do it. And thanks so much for watching.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. All right. Bye.